Hello again, and welcome back to the Blue Collar Bible Guy podcast. We are on day number 70. We're going to see strength without discipline in Judges 14 through 16. So, again, before we get started, if this podcast has been helping you stay in the Word, take a moment and share it with somebody. It could be a coworker, it could be someone at church, it could be somebody that you just would like to see get into the Bible on their own or with you. And that's how we're going to grow this, one person at a time. So I just want to encourage you to keep sharing it. And if you have any comments, send me an email, bluecollarbibleguy@gmail.com. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this. Judges 14, we see Samson's first compromise. We first started Samson yesterday, talking a little bit about him, but now we're going to get into more about his life. So here, Samson begins his adult life with a decision that sets the tone for everything that follows. He sees a Philistine woman and wants to marry her, even though God has called Israel to remain separate. In verse number 3, we read, "Then his father and his mother said unto him, Is there never a woman among the daughters of thy brethren, that thou goest to take a wife of the uncircumcised Philistines? And Samson said unto his father, Get her for me, for she pleaseth me well." That's the problem right there. For she pleaseth me well. Samson's making decisions based on what he feels, not what's right. And that pattern continues after this. Even though God still uses Samson, his personal choices are already heading in the wrong direction. In chapter 15, we see God uses a flawed man. Samson begins striking against the Philistines. At one point, he defeats 1,000 men with a jawbone. In verse 15, we read, "And he found a new jawbone of an ass, and put forth his hand, and took it, and slew 1,000 men therewith." That is incredible strength. But here's what's important. God's working through Samson, even though Samson is not walking closely with God. This is a dangerous place to be, because being used by God is not the same as being right with God. In chapter 16, we see the fall of Samson. Now we come to the most well-known part of Samson's life, his relationship with Delilah. The Philistines bribe her to find a secret of his strength. She pressures Samson repeatedly, and eventually he gives in. In verse 17, we read that he told her all his heart, and said unto her, There hath not come a razor upon my head. If I be shaven, then my strength will go from me. Samson gives away what God had entrusted with him. And then comes one of the saddest verses in the entire Bible in verse number 20. "And he wist not that the Lord was departed from him." He didn't even realize what he'd lost. That's what slow compromise does. It dulls your awareness. Samson's captured, blinded, and put to work grinding in prison. But at the end of his life, Samson calls out to God one more time in Judges 16 and 28. It says, "O Lord God, remember me, I pray thee, and strengthen me, I pray thee, only this once." Here God answers. Samson brings down the temple of the Philistines, defeating more enemies in his death than in his entire life. So what's this mean for us? Samson's life is a warning. You can have strength, you can have talent, you can have opportunity, but still fall apart without discipline. He had calling without character, power without restraint, and potential without consistency, and it cost him. So the truth for us today is that your greatest strength can become your greatest weakness if it's not brought under control. Samson's strength wasn't the problem, his lack of discipline was. A lot of people aren't falling because they lack ability. They're failing because they lack self-control. So what's our challenge for today? I want you to ask yourself this question. Where in my life do I need more discipline? Maybe it's your thought life. What are the things you're thinking about on those down times? Maybe it's your habits, your relationships, or your time in the Word. Don't wait until things fall apart. Start tightening things up now, because discipline today prevents regret tomorrow. As we get ready to close, I want to remind you again to like and subscribe to the podcast and share it with everyone you know. And Send me any emails you might have at bluecollarbibleguy@gmail.com. I want to thank you so much for continuing this journey with the Blue Collar Bible Guy as we challenge each other to read the entire Bible in a year. But don't forget to always stay in the Word, stay faithful, and remember, small obedience done daily builds a strong faith over time. And I will see you on day number 71.